Okay. Good afternoon. What a day. What a couple days. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the announcements. I sure hope we're able to pick this up today. The two announcements for the face bat. Oh, hello, Angel. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, Ladybug. Good to see you. Can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me? Oh, great, great, great. I'm gonna finish up with the announcements, and then we'll get started. Today is the 22nd of September. Um, oh, hey, good to hear from you, Mr. Mills. Good to hear from you. All right, that all sounds so good. Um, Today is September the 22nd. We're here in Texas. We'll be back in Oklahoma tomorrow. Um, it was just one of those days. Because last night, well, let me start with the announcement. I have two Facebook group pages also that's connected with this page, and that's the Oklahoma Bigfoot Predator Watch, in parentheses, antlers and surrounding areas. Mr. Mills says he's been keeping up, just been sick for the past few weeks. Oh, okay, Mr. Mills. Good to have you back. I'm glad you've been you're better now. And Ladybug, we will get to that in just a little bit. It was a long day. Oh, okay. The second announcement on the Facebook is I have another group page called the Choctaw Missing and Murdered Woman, WOMBMAN, and Son Center and Database. Also, the museum, the CHUHTAY, the Chute Ranch Project, a Bigfoot experience, is still due to open before October 1st, before the festival in Hornaby. You should stop in there, stop into the museum, and look at some of the things, because we will have a little segment or a little wall in there of all these expeditions that we're starting to do. We will get to the one that we're on now and the next one. And then we'll get back into the office, as they say, and work on the next one. But yes, Ladybug, we did do exactly that. I'm glad everybody's keeping up to know and to know what, to know where we're at, what we're doing, and let me go ahead and get started with that little update. So we come down to do some tracking. Hello, April. April Alfred. I know that name. Or if are you from New York, April? But we're in Texas now. We're doing some tracking. We're here with a friend, a good friend, actually two good friends now. Another friend came in from the north. I came in from the south. No, I was still in the north to be here in Texas. So we both Alabama. Okay, name sounds familiar. I don't know why. April Alfred. And we will have pictures up. I want to say tomorrow, but we're also going to be on the road tomorrow. So I would have to say the earliest. Now we will post some photos tomorrow for sure, but it won't be all the photos. There'll be just a couple of photos that we have. We did cast a track, but I mean there was tracks all over the place, but most of them were like a week old. There's only like, I said, maybe one or two that were kind of fresh. We did have a hot spot, so we walked up on one, but it had moved before we got there. But with the thermals, you could see the footprints leading the way. But we were on another mission, and that was also, like you were saying, Ladybug, was to reach that portal. Um, we went in with 5. Oh, okay, April. Okay. Yeah, I'd seen those. I haven't seen all the pictures, but I was tied up with all this, and I was just like, let me get through with this, and then we'll see. But you're in Alabama, and you have Bigfoot there also. Um, we're trying to work out a schedule and places where we can go just to track and find these creatures, these predators. But whenever we track, we're not what the animals and the birds are used to. We didn't set off any alarms, although some locusts did hit, and we held our ground. We stayed still, let them calm down, and then we moved on. There's a blue jay out there also, and everybody knows that the blue jay is the first predator that will fly through. It's the smallest. It's one of the small ones. But that blue jay calls the crow, calls the raven, and then the raven, they'll call the Bigfoot, or the owl, they'll call the Bigfoot. But we was out there. We only heard one, but they were in the distance. So were the crows. It seemed like everything was moving away from us. But we were doing the 5-step stops. All the things that we talked about on this Bigfoot channel. How to walk. Make sure you have protection. Listen for the birds. Listen for the animals. Listen for the crickets. Watch the wind. Look at the shadows. Listen to the shadows. And this group was, I really like this group. They had been paying attention, so they knew what I'd be looking for, and they knew that we had to be stealthy, be patient, take our 5-step stops. And that's just walking 5 steps, stopping. And also, like we were saying the day before or the night before, that whenever we do stop, when someone puts that halt sign up, or if we see someone stop, it's kind of like taking cover. Don't stop in the open, and don't stop in the sunlight. Get to that next shadow, get to that next tree, that next bush. And if it's a bush, go ahead and kneel down. And if it's a tree, get in that shadow. Use it. But let's see, we got in yesterday. We had dinner. We got to have our meet and greet. It was a little late, but we still got to have our meet and greet. It was good. It was good. One of the trackers here, they actually bought us some steak, so we ate that. Then we had to go and do a night observation after that, so you can tell a lot of people were tired with a full belly, trying to stay up all night and listen to the crickets. But it's not really the crickets we're listening for, as everybody knows. We're listening for oddities of those crickets. Do they mess up? Do they sound a little off? Is the rhythm not right? And we always tell people, whatever sound you hear, find it. Make sure that is a cricket. Make sure that is a bird. Make sure that is a coyote. Make sure that is an owl. But this group, even though we did the night observation, was up all night recording sounds. We got some good sounds. I haven't went through all of them. And like I said, we got back up here after the day, and we tracked almost at daylight. I mean, we had a few things that we still had to get together. We had to make sure it was a safe time. We didn't find any tracks or strictly around the house, but you could tell that they'd been using it as a walkway or through. But we went out. Let's see, that was north. So I would say northeast, but we went out to where the crows were, and we walked stealthy, didn't rush, and but everything seemed to be moving away from us. And I was explaining that whenever we track, well, we do it a certain way that we do. We'll go into that brush line, into that wood line, step by step, little by little, little by little. Cross streams, use the ravines. We were walking through the ravines, so you were seeing about this much of us, and so we got to look at the horizon at ground level, and there was a lot of activity, a lot of trails. You can see the game trails. There was no human trails. Ooh. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had a tomato that fell out, and a bell pepper. Oh, so we started our track, and like I said, we were looking for shadows, following these Bigfoot trails, and like we were saying, if you look at the trees, they're going to use the trees as walkways, hideaways, pathways, because they use the trees as a blind. And that's where we're finding a lot of places where they were sitting, a lot of places where they were watching our friend's house. And like whenever we track, we track just because people need us to be there with them, or maybe the people don't have anyone who will believe them. But you know yourself that you have something at least out there. So when we hear things like that, we like to get there, or at least I do. I like to get there to. I want to see what's going on. I want to see how we may be able to deter these things from your family, kind of walk them out, kind of. And the way that we do the 5-step stop and the tracking, everything will get out of our way. Nothing wants to get in our path. And I've actually seen Bigfoot get up and move because they knew we were coming. We did walk up on one, but it had already moved. But the hot spot from the thermal showed the steps going away from it. But it was getting away from us. We had started back to a couple of structures that I'd seen on Facebook, and I was asked if I wanted to see them. I said yes. It was at the furthest part of the property, so if anybody knows, and if Malcolm, you're here, you know for sure, but we do the 5-step stop, and 500 yards to a normal person, it might take them, 3 minutes to get there or something. But for a tracker, that can take 3 hours, maybe. To a normal person, it's maybe 3 minutes. To a tracker, it's 3 hours. Because you observe everything. You're not out there to get caught off guard. You're not there to, be anybody's game. You're the warrior. You're the hunter. You're the tracker. And you can see everything will move out of your way if you move like we do. But if you walk as a normal person, sound, laughing, talking, these creatures will come up to you. They want to follow you home. They want to see, who this careless person is, because that's a free meal pretty much uh, for any Bigfoot. That's pretty much a free meal. So whenever we was tracking, there are some beautiful um, tree sculptures. The poles that lay, now either the poles are going to be blocking you from not going, or they're going to be pointing. And sometimes you'll see two sticks pointed like that. That points to game trails or to a trail for a Bigfoot to use. And they have their own trails. We were on, every time I go out there, I find the Bigfoot trail. I'm not looking for the game trail, not looking for the human trail. I want the Bigfoot trail. And after you've been doing this for a while, it's plain, it's wide open. You can see the tracks, the impressions. You know which way they're going, if they're using it as a highway, or if they're just passing through. But we found some going back and forth, so that it was a occupied, active highway, I guess you say, on the trails. But there was no fully recent ones, and it kind of looked like they had before been there quite a while. But when you looked at the wildlife, there was no snakes. I didn't run into one snake. And that's one thing I really look for, and to know if a Bigfoot is really in those areas, is that you won't even have a snake left. They eat everything. And where rattlesnakes, copperheads were, there won't be any poisonous snakes in there. But that poison, that everything is used in that DNA. So even, like they say, the bite like fire. The first Bigfoot that we ever encountered in history had a bite like fire, a bite that paralyzed. And that was in the story, The Legend of Time. That is an important story. If anybody has heard that story, that is an important story. SMA says, oh, hi, April. She says to April Alfred. Everyone listens tonight again while I'm driving, but in here, we'll be at my spot shortly. Oh, that's good, SMA. And SMA, I haven't got that Cash App kind of thing figured out. And I don't want to mess it up. And it's supposed to, I believe, return the money to you on the 25th, which is in 3 days. I may try one more time, but if not, that money will be sent back to you. But we still have our our PayPal, and that one always works. It's real easy for us. And SMA says, hey, Jerry, the story, Legend of Time, send me to tears. Yes, it's a true story. That's, even though people may not have ever heard of it, it's a true story. Oh, great, SMA. Would that be through Facebook? I mean, PayPal, I hope. Yes, SMA. And if I can get, because I wrote a poem, I want to say I wrote a poem probably about 5 years ago, that after hearing The Legend of Time, if you hear that poem, you will understand it. And the people who never heard The Legend of Time, who's heard that poem, I've seen them shake. I've seen them have to sit down. I've heard them say that they um, feel it in them. Oh, great, SMA. Thank you so much. I'm gonna put this on just for you. And this is that PayPal SMA. I don't know if you have it, but I'm gonna send that to you right there. But that poem, I'm gonna try to get up. Let me. I'm gonna try by Saturday for sure, because that poem is on another thread, and I have to pull it over and see if I could use it here. And I hope I can, so everyone can hear that poem. It was supposed to be a song, but the artist changed it into a poem. She felt it would be better to be read that way. Uh, Thank you, SMA. Thank you so much. I am exhausted and tired, and uh, SMA says she cannot wait to hear, and I can't wait till everyone hears it. It's one of those poems that, especially if you know the Legend of Time, it makes perfect sense. But if you've never heard the Legend of Time, it it still makes sense, but you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know why it makes sense. But if you read or listened to Legend of Time, you know why it makes sense. They go together. They both have the same story. It's just written differently, just like hieroglyphs. You know, the ancient stones, the ancient manuscripts. All the stories are the same. They're just worded differently. And I was talking to some friends today. Even yesterday was talking about it, but it's not that the people of the past are not telling us, about the past. Even though they put this in a big stone, the big hieroglyphs and everything, but it's not that the people of that time is not warning us, is not telling us. It's just that the words are different. If we know what words are talking about, then everything makes sense. Now, in the Legend of Time, you have to remember there was no such word as spider. Sorry, trying to catch up on my liquids. Oh, it was a long day, but a good day. Uh, Let me kind of get back to that too, because we were doing some tracking. um, let's see, we had Katie and Faith Walker, and It was Faith Walker's area, so she knew, where to go, but she also knew what to listen for. She knew the tracks. She was telling us there's a deer track, here's a footprint, here's a scuff, and that's the way we started. We started off with scuffs, little kick pieces of dirt, a broken twig, a little something, blade of grass that was stepped on, pushed over. Those are the things that we started with. And to start off with something like that, like a lot of people, I mean, it's good to get a track, good to get a thermal. But if you don't have that, follow those creeks, find those scuffs. Uh, to a trained eye, they're pretty easy to find. But when I'm with um, other people, I always like to see their skills and let them lead. But of course, like today, I wanted to be really in the back because I knew that this is a Bigfoot territory. And I know that Bigfoots in these areas are quick, big, powerful, and people can vanish quickly. And like I tell everybody, it's not that the Bigfoot can run really, I mean, he can run really fast, but when it's traveling through the mountains or like hiking trails or animal trails, the Bigfoot has its own trail. And that's why it can maneuver and run at full speed because it's a marked trail. And like I was talking about those, if the poles or the wood is laid down, some of them are directors, but most of the time when you find two um, trees or saplings, those kind of things, about this big, I guess you'd say, like a pine tree snapped or something, that if they're pointing, if they're pointing towards that trail that a Bigfoot can use for food and capture. There was so many structures out there, but there wasn't any wildlife that we seen. Usually, we'll walk up or startle or um, observe like deer or birds or wildlife, but we didn't see any like wild pigs, any deer. But she has had deer and everything on her property before, but we didn't see anything fresh on her property as far as deer. I think we found one raccoon track, and I think that was Katie that found that because we was walking this. I mean, we was walking everywhere. We was following the Bigfoot trails. Hey, there's Katie. How you doing, Katie? I was just talking about you, about like the raccoon tracks and everything. I was trying talking about the animals that we didn't see, uh, that we knew previous that there were deer, hog, something that looked like a wombat. There was some armadillo, Bigfoot, a couple things out there, and so we found or Katie found the track of small creatures. I think it was scratching or something up the bank. She found that, and then we found some of the sculpture or the structures that. Um, Cliff says, "Are you trashing the structures upon discovery?" No, Cliff, not here. It's not my area, and I don't want to cause something in someone else's area that they would have to deal with. Uh, because I'm just tracking in that area, and I don't want to disturb anything. I just want to find out what's there. And we did get a good print today, a good track, and it was pretty deep. It was probably that deep, and so it was a very good track. I'm going to read this real fast. It says, "I have been moving." This is from SMA. "I have been moving, and the new house is in the far end of the city, and been hearing their calls late at night. They are mocking other calls, including birds, coyotes, and my dogs are reacting to them." Yes, they SMA, like we was talking just the other day, and we're going to, like, tomorrow we're going to another spot. I also have to talk with some people before we do that. Uh, but we're going to another spot tomorrow, and that's where there's enough of them, and what I like to call a symphony of the forest, that there was 21 in this spot the last, I think once, I want to say 2 weeks ago. We went there and checked them out, and we got 21, 4 confirmed or 3 confirmed, and the rest were all eye shine in different areas. But we were surrounded. But we knew what to do. As somebody says, "I also hear them in bins beside my house, but cannot see them." Estimate the best way to do that is with night vision or thermals, but you're gonna, like we said, look for their outline, look for the blueness. Um, yeah, look for the shimmers, look for the shadows. Their coat. Some of them can be so dark that you could be standing really close to one and not even know it. I thought I heard a noise, uh, but also after we got the plaster of Paris, mixed that up the best we could, which was on the spot. And I've done it before, so kind of knew what I was doing, but I didn't have anything mixed, so I used a stick and oh, I'm hearing something. I just don't know what it is. But so I mixed the plaster of Paris in the bag that Faith Walker brought, and we laid a track down. It was a pretty good, decent track. I want to say it was 17 inches. I want to think that's what she said, and 6 inches wide. Uh, so that would make that one about 9.5 foot tall, I would say, because we have tracked before. We have got different prints and have seen some of them, so we knew about the average height and weight for those for the size of the print. And so we set the plaster Paris, and we continued on through the riverways. We were using the ravines, um, so we could walk without being seen as a silhouette or a oddity. We followed the rivers, the streams all the way back, and that's where we found some other tracks. Right at those bridges, right at those traps that we talked about, how they'll push a bridge over. I mean, push a tree over and use it as a bridge. And then when the animals come onto those bridges, they're caught on both sides because it's a trap. But we also talked about never take those bridges unless you know what you're doing, or if you know that they're not in the area, you can do it also. But after we set the print, walk the trails, or actually um, we walk the ravines. I'm trying to get this up here. Okay. We went over to this one spot, and that's whenever Faith Walker said, "This is a spot for the portal." And if you can see, um, that whole area was dead. It had green vegetation all the way around it, but this one area, there was no vegetation. There was dry old leaves on the trees, so it looked kind of like a dead zone, or a place where I don't know, a place where all the life has ceased to be abundant, I guess you would say. But you could tell we was in an area, and it was a ravine that walked straight up to it, just kind of like an altar or a temple. You had to walk up to the top of it, which we did. And then we had the ceremony. I spoke a few words, but I had gifted everyone tobacco, and we throw the tobacco onto the door. It's kind of like spraying pests, I guess you would say, is the way I say it. And you use the tobacco, you say your words, and then you just throw it. And it comes out to be a mist, but you can see it hits that whole kind of wall. And we had everyone who was with us do it. And it was funny because every time we close the door, it's like we shut that door, and then the winds come in. And I was kind of talking to Katie. I said, usually the winds will come in. And then, just as soon as I got through saying it, here it comes. And, but we closed that portal. And by this time, we're still a little sore, a little tired, because we're going up and down hills. We're going in ravines. We're going through thickets. Plus, if anybody has ever tracked or did the 5-step stops, you will know the wear and tear that you will have on your thighs, your calves, your feet, because you have to adjust with every step. You don't just tromp through. You when you come down, you kind of turn on your side, kind of like a fox walk, and then every step is just like that. You kind of curl, you kind of touch, you kind of curl your foot down, and that hides your sound. Also, move with the crickets. Move with any sound that's consistent, like a locust. If the locusts are making that sound like zzz, 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 that's when you walk. That's when we go zzz, 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 and that will hide your sound. But also remember, when you stop behind a tree, you stop behind a bush, you blend in. Don't ever leave yourself wide open. Um, SMA says, "Wow, the winds are the confirmation. It's sealed. I take it." Yes, SMA. Yes, it always happens. And when I was there, I was saying hello. I was saying I was saying my name in my language, and I was saying, do you remember me? Kind of like in a funny kind of way. And I said, I'm here to shut this door, which I've shut doors before. Many places where the god Baal, Baal, and Baal. There was a lot of portals that people were trying to open up in New York City, all over the world. I believe in Iran, they was trying to form like a, you know, all the way across the globe. But when it got to New York City, or whenever it got to our lands, I went all the way to New York City just to shut that portal. And but I've shut portals before. It's something to be there, to know it, to find it. And I do have a picture of that portal. Of You can still see movement in there. Cliff says, "I bet Faith Walker's happy to have that portal closed." Yes, she took us all the way to it just to do that. And of course, I had my key. I don't have it right now; it's in my bag. But I had the key to the dead with me. Uh, and we had organic tobacco. SMA says, "Thank you for the work." You're welcome, SMA. These things have to be closed. And I believe Faith Walker has a little bit of video. I don't know why she didn't pick up my words, because I was standing almost right next to her, but you could hear her words, but you can't hear what I'm saying. And she said it might have been the way she was holding it, but I don't know. You should at least heard something, because I was just like right next to her speaking. But we went, and then we had to walk back down that hill, that ravine, and we're walking out of a dead zone pretty much. I mean, if you looked around there, and maybe Faith Walker took some pictures of that area, because she did take some pictures, and I would love to see some of her pictures, because and Katie's, because some of those pictures, even though we're tracking, sometimes to talk, if we had to talk, we would get real close and kneel down. We'd be whispering to each other where we're going, what we're looking for, or what we've seen. And it was lucky to have a couple cameras out there to see things like that, because uh, I know Faith Walker, she said that she was taking a lot of pictures, and uh, me and Katie would be talking or pointing at something or doing something, and I was doing the same thing, because I was watching those, watching. I don't want to say those two. I was watching my friends. How about that? And Katie, she's a very independent, strong young lady. So is Faith Walker. But I know that Bigfoots will try to take that last person, that one that doesn't seem to be right with the whole crowd and things like that, which I wasn't. And I was talking with Faith Walker and Katie, and I was letting them know that, I'm letting y'all walk ahead so I can cover the back. Yes, Katie, exactly right. I forgot about that. Yes, SMA. After that wind came through, it just stopped. It was done. It was closed. And I forgot about that, Katie. Thank you. Uh, and so now we're gonna have to walk back. And I want to say we were tracking for, let's see, we got out of there three. Okay, Katie. Yes, get some sleep. You have some well deserved sleep. Rest well, Katie. Have a great sleep, and I'll see you tomorrow. I know what kind of day we had. Yeah, you got your tracking feet up there. Good night, Katie. I'll see you tomorrow. I don't see Faith Walker on here, so I have a feeling Faith Walker's in bed too. Because we all, if you, when you're tracking, if you ask Malcolm, me and Malcolm did a 10.5 hour track, a couple weeks back, and they wear and tear on you. But if you're used to it and you train for this, uh, it's a lot easier than someone who doesn't train, I guess you would say. Um, but we had a lot of fun while we were tracking. Uh, we did some things we normally wouldn't do, but that was okay because we had we had good eyes. Everybody was looking in every direction, and it's good going out when you have people like that who could see, who look for certain things, who wants to find the tracks, who listens, for the birds, for the crickets. Those are the people you want to be out there tracking with, because if you miss something, they'll pick it up. And if that person misses it and that person misses it, then that person will pick it up. So that's well, we left that track out there until we could, get back to the house, get our things packed, because that was the site. This is our base camp. So there's a couple sites because we walked through 4 sites, site 0 through site 4. And we did some thorough tracking, and we had a real good time while we're doing it. We do have that track, and I think Faith Walker will bring that in tomorrow. All we need is like a paintbrush to get all the dirt off of it, and then we'll be able to get that track for you. We got video, we got photos. We got one photo that I think we're going to ask permission to use, but it's in the same area as where we were tracking. And that one is a Bigfoot. I mean, you can see it. It's in the shadow. It stepped right almost in front of a game cam, but just a little further back. You can see that it stopped, and the very next click, it's gone. So we do have that one. Plus, we'll be getting all the audio up. And tomorrow we are going to another site. I still have to pick up a trail cam. That one is for the next day, which will be Friday morning. And that one's more like a smash and grab. We have to get into an area. And this area that we're going to is, the next 2 sites also are really confirmed Bigfoot territories or Bigfoot areas that we're going to be going through. The first one, they're not so aggressive, but the second one, the second site, those are really aggressive. They even have places where they hang their prey, their meat. They have their hunting lodges there. And if a lot of people hadn't seen those, I think maybe about a week ago, we was in this area taking pictures. We had a talk on it, but you'll see their hunting lodges where they hang the meat. We had 2 flat tires, one going up, one coming down in the same area, so we knew that was a trap too. But we knew it going up, but then we thought that we'd avoid it on the second one, but the only way that we could get through there is just this one spot about this big. And as soon as we went over that spot, bow, our second tire or the the tire, we could hear the hissing again. And that's whenever we got out, used our thank you. Katie says, thank you, Jerry. Sunshine, sunflowers, and big red feet. Big red swollen feet, I guess you would say. She says, night. Good night, Katie. Have a great night. Have a great rest. I'll see you tomorrow. But get some rest. Sleep in. Don't, relax, because these next 2 days too, they're going to be long, and then after that, then you can take a break. Then you can take a really good rest. But we still got 2 more days. One more day of observation. But that's also where we spotted the last 21 Bigfoot. It is a pretty safe location to do all this. But the second one, when we go directly into the Bigfoot living room, or some people said their kitchen, that one is a little more dangerous. But we're not going there to track. I've already went through there, and I know it's a very dangerous place. A friend of mine from Tallahassee went with me. Name's Josh. We tracked through there, and it's one of those high intense places that you just know that if you do encounter, you're going to encounter. And as we was walking out, we still had 2 guys who were changing the flat while we went in to do what we had to do and come back. They were waiting for us, already ready, but they said that they had heard something paralleling us, walking parallel with us on our way out. So they were expecting something to come out of the brush line because they could hear it, but it seemed to have stopped when we came out. So that's the last 2 places that we have to go to in the next 2 days or day and a half. And once that's done, we are done for this track. We're done. I do want to go back. I do want to check on Faith Walker's area. Maybe even if we can afford it, maybe get down and spend a couple days and just help her clear brush, at least off that front part of her property. So that'll give her a lot of eyesight, a lot of places that she can see without all that brush, all those hiding spots. She doesn't need that. And if we can make it back down, we'll bring our clippers and just spend 2 or 3 days just, doing that brush work, clearing everything out for her, and just helping her with little knickknacks around the house if she has any. But and Katie, we also want to go up and see Katie. She's got some up in her area. We want to go up there and track and find those, and let her know how many's in the area, where they at, what's going on. Cliff says that is recommended. Well, around the house, yes, but like me, I will, as far as I can see, I'm going to clear. But it's only because I want to know, every brush, every tree, any kind of silhouette, so that if I'm looking at nighttime, if I'm looking out that window and there's an extra shadow, or that tree just gained weight, as you would say, or you can still see heat in a bush, then that way I know, because I cleared those areas myself, so I know where every bush is. I know where, every tree, rock, and stump is. So if there's something else out there, I've got my crossbow, I've got a BB gun. If I don't want to hurt anything, I'll use the BB gun. But if I'm not sure what it is, I will use the crossbow, and plus I still have the shotgun and everything. So I would use them in order. I did forget my boots, so I had to walk in tennis shoes today, which I do not recommend, but a lot of people do it. But Um, I would recommend it. It's only because your calves and ankles aren't supported as well, and when they're not, your legs will get sore, worked over. Because especially if like today, we was going through some sand, loose soil, up hills, up like ravines, almost straight up. And we crossed a lot of creeks, or it's actually one creek, but we was crossing back and forth, checking tracks and trails, and plus getting to the portal. And we was also talking about how people on this channel, we can have a conversation, but uh, to have a conversation like portals and Bigfoot and tracking and listening to birds and watching shadows, looking for something that's not there, like a translucent. Those are conversations you can't have with normal people or regular people. We can only have it here, it seems like, and the conversations that we have whenever we all get together, like if we all, Cliff, if you was here, SMA, and running with this group, Angel, we could have conversations, and there's no lack of words for our conversations because we're talking about things that nobody else talks about, and just recording something. Um, SMA says, "What is a good crossbow to get? I want to buy one, and there are too many on the market. And I was trained in archery, but old school, normal crossbow. I, you know, as long as they at least 170 pounds of pressure." She says, "Oh yeah, we could for lifetimes times two." Oh yes, yes, especially even April Alford and SMA and we throw some Angel in there. Throw some Angel in there and have that conversation. Uh, First time I talked to Angel, we talked for 5.5 hours, I guess, or something like that. And we even talked about it. You can't have, we couldn't have these conversations with normal people, but we can. And Cliff says, "I would join in the future. I have to catch up on everything. The previous info I missed and finish all of these projects and get some night vision and thermals too." Yes, and also like whenever if nobody has any thermals or night vision, I'll show you how to use mine, how to take pictures, how to record with it, how to focus, uh, how to use infrared uh, flashlights with it, and things like that. So, Cliff, you just get ready. You don't have to know everything that I know because, um, especially when you're tracking. When you're tracking, that's all you need to know. You don't need to know about the, Fibonacci sequence or the flower of life or those things. You just need to know the language of the birds, the sequence of predators, how to stop everything. Um, Look for impressions. Watch that track. Um, know the language of shadows, and that sequence of predators is very important because it's their sequence. And once you know it, you know that. And we did have a crow fly over us today, and when that happened, everyone just everyone was stopped anyway. But like for me, I made sure I was by a tree in the direction that the crow was heading, so that it it wouldn't see me behind the tree, and that's where I stood. So we knew their sequence and their sounds, and we was also talking about that the blue jay, and then the crow or the raven, and then the Bigfoot will come in if they can't handle that. And so we did hear a blue jay, we did see the crow, and we were still and And see, Cliff says, I need to still learn and or review all those subjects. That's what I'm saying. I take this very seriously and will not go out there until I'm confident I have your back properly. Well, that is good news. That is good news, Cliff, and thank you for that. SMA says, saw two ravens in the past 3 weeks. Haven't seen them in years and years. Now, if you do see those ravens again, or even if you see it now, or a crow, make that eye contact with them. Watch them until they are completely out of sight. If you take your eyes off of them, all they're going to do is if they see you turn your head or walk the other way, they're just going to turn around and come back. Nessa May says she agrees with you, Cliff. That's good. And that's the way we was doing it today. While one would walk, one would lead, the next one would come up, and that one would stop, and then the third one would come up and move up into like the second position, and that third one would walk up and go like that, and we just kept doing that so that so that we could watch what was coming behind us. And if you know predators, predators will let you pass them, or they will vacate the area until you pass them, and then they will try to sneak up behind you and close in that distance. SMA says the last one was flying beside my van. SMA, make sure you got rocks, slingshot, BB gun, a good gun. And anytime you see those smaller predators, do whatever you can to get rid of them. Do whatever you can to let them know that you're not food. And the best way to do that is to kill those predators. Because, and some people might take offense to that, and some people might say that, you shouldn't just be shooting birds and things like that, but people don't understand birds. People don't understand birds have a language, and people don't understand they're in a sequence with predators. And when people don't know that, they have the wrong information. And that's where we always have conflicts or contradictions, is because people who don't have the information wants to try to correct the people who have the information, if that makes sense. But we've been seeing a lot of that, which we have also seen a lot of that slacking off, because when we first started this channel, if anybody's been here since the first time we started the channel, we got some comments, and finally we just said, this is not the channel for comments like that. If you want to comment, go to another Bigfoot channel. They don't care what you comment, but here it's more of a class, more of a teaching. So when you do go out, you know what to look for. We show you what we're doing. SMA says they truly don't, but I get it. I have a connection with birds. I had to run towards it and face it. It gave up. Good, SMA. Good. And if some people wants to watch you do that, they would probably think, well, SMA's just a little. But to me, if I was to see you doing like something like that, I would first look at what you was doing or what you was focused on, and then if it wouldn't leave or anything, then I would probably take a shot at it myself. Hey, Faith Walker. She said we appreciate the learning too. Wow. It was so good having you out there and guiding us through. I was talking about, I don't know how long you've been here, but we was talking about you earlier. All good. All good. Yes, it's May. Yes. You got to get those predators away from you, because all those small ones do, no matter how harmless they look, they're calling their big brother. They're calling a killer. They're calling someone to come and take care of their food so that they could participate also, because they do benefit too. Crows, owls, ravens, wolves, coyote, don't not coyotes, but wolves. They do benefit from any kill that they help, because the Bigfoot will come in and we'll give them a piece of the meat or the prey, just like as a like a companion hunter, I guess. So today was one of those days. It was a long day. It wasn't hot. It wasn't rainy. Like we were talking about, it was great weather for this. But the weather, um, we said it was going to be perfect. Don't worry about it. It will be there for us, and it was. And but it's only the tracking, and tracking is strenuous because you're not just freely walking. Every step is kind of calculated. You kind of lower it slow, and if you was to do this, just as training, you know, do that for 5 hours, 5.5 hours of training, just walking slow, quietly as possible as you can, up in hills, down hills, through ravines and over creeks. Then you'll know what we're talking about. And tomorrow, tonight, everybody, well, we were supposed to be using this afternoon for going over the tapes, going over the video, checking the photos. Hey, Kathy. She says, hi, Jerry and gang. Hi, Kathy. Good to hear from you. I always feel like I hear something, but anyway. Let's see. And tomorrow we will be en route to another location. I have to speak with a friend also in Oklahoma before anything's done, but we are scheduled to be in Tallahena to do some tracking, observation, not tracking. We're going to do observation, and then that next morning we need to do a smash and grab, and I sure hope that trail cam is still there. And if it is, we're going to get the SD card, because that is a big Bigfoot area, and hopefully, we're going to catch one or two of them off guard, because we did see where they were crossing the road right there, using it as a walkway. It's in a perfect trap, a perfect place for other people to stop and pull in. It's got a brush line, but behind that brush line where you would pull in and back in to turn around, that's the only place you can do that. So this is the best place for that trap. That brush line had a trail coming up the back of it, and you couldn't see it unless you were coming up the back to where the trucks were, to the back of the truck, where no one could see you. It's like a blind that was there. We tracked that all the way back through there, and we knew it was a trap anyway. But everything that we seen, everything was just like, this is another part of the trap. This is another part of the trap. We talked just for a little bit out there, but I had my weapons. Everybody had their knives, and we had some spears with us. So we was all pretty confident because we knew how to use them, and we just did what we had to do, set that cam up, and left. And then that's when we also had that flat tire on the way back, and we rode it out till we could get another one. But that was a dangerous place. We will be going there just to get that cam again, but now that we know the way and what's there, it's safe for us, but for normal people, it's not a safe area. But traps are, how close they are, where they're going to be at, and they're translucent. There's a lot of them that are translucent over there. Only because we caught, pictures of them when we was looking for them. Let's see. We will be stopping by the Chute Ranch project if they are open, but we will call the curator. And while we're down there, we can have a little meet and greet and talk with her. Uh, Her name's Tanya. She's a good person. She's she's got the Bigfoot Museum opening up, so she does have an open mind, and those kind of people you just really like to talk with and share information with. And then, so after we get done with that, then we are actually through with this section or this part of this expedition. Uh, but everyone, like tomorrow night, we're going to go back to the same spot where the 21 are, do some more observation, and get some more information. Yeah, we should put all this on video, like every time we go out on a different expedition or something. Uh, we should put it out on video or DVD or something, or even maybe make it into a YouTube movie or something, because there's a lot of stealth in it, a lot of teachings, and you can always tell when people are paying attention because they know what to do. And then you really don't have to like I always talk, if it's someone that's never listened, who's never listened to the channel or has even paid attention to a Bigfoot or tracking, then those are the ones who are will be the oddity out there. But we always go over things the day before we go out, what we're going to do, where we're going to go. And with Faith Walker this time, we had a map. We knew every place that we was going to go. Ladybug says, how many do you think is living there at Faith Walker's place? I could only say that I would know 2 for sure, only because the game is not in that area. I didn't see any snakes. I seen old tracks. There was only like 2 kind of fresh ones. But we did hear some movement and like behind the house, but we couldn't get to that section that next day because when we got close to the house, it was like, let's get to the house. I'm tired. I'm hot. We've been doing this for 5.5 hours. Oh, no SMA. They seem to be one big male and one juvenile in that area. But even a male and juvenile, and plus the tract of land that was across the road, that's where I was really getting the sense that if we was to win over there, I'm sure that we pushed them over there. But that's okay too. If we can push them off of Faith Walker's area, then that's a good thing. Make sure that they're safe. She has some young grandkids and children of her own, so just to turn them from her area, push them off that area, that makes her safer, and that's what we want for everybody. So I'm going to kind of that was just an update of our day. We still got 2 more days to go. It's not over. We still got more places to go, more Bigfoot to see and collect. And Ladybug says, what about that portal? Could you feel and see that? You could feel and see it. And even just by the word seeing it, if you was to have walked up in the area, you would have seen a dead zone. It was like up a ravine, but it was kind of at the top, and but it was a dead zone. There was green leaves, around that circle, but inside that circle, it was dry. You could tell they were dry, aged leaves. The trees were dead, and it was just in that area. SMA says, let's hope they talk to her later and the knowledge spreads. Yes. They closed the portal. Yes, we closed that portal. And it was something to see too, because the wind always comes in right at the end, right when you close that door, and sit there for a second. I'm like, huh. I turn around. I said, usually the winds will come right at the end whenever we close it, and then all of a sudden the winds just start picking up, and that breeze come through, and then after it came through and stopped, and everything just went dead silent again. I mean, not no air, no breezes, no winds, nothing. Ladybug says, "Do you think that is from radiation?" Well, portals. There's nothing good about a portal. There's only predators on the other side of that portal. What it comes through there destroys anything there. So it's a bad negative area, but it's only like a real small area. Everything else is good around there, but when you do have portals and things like that, you're going to find a lot of creatures, a lot of mutant looking Bigfoot creatures. They won't have the facial of a person, but they'll have different animal faces, I guess you would say. But they also come through those portals. Big spiders come through those portals when they open up. Just the ones that can, make it through. And I have seen like the small ones, well, I call small ones about this big, and I was tracking a 5-foot spider at one time, but that ran me right into Bigfoots and caves and everything. So I guess you got to go through the Bigfoot to get the spider, which you do. I mean, if you went backwards, you'd have to do that. But I was going to go ahead and close tonight and get some well-needed rest. I think Katie's already went to bed. Faith Walker, if you're still awake, get you some rest. We got not hard days ahead of us, just long days, I guess you would say. We won't be tracking like we did today because in this next location, they're so comfortable there. They come out all the time. Every night they're there. You don't have to go look for them. They're going to be exactly where they're supposed to be. All right, Faith Walker, sleep well. Cliff says, good night, Jerry. Sleep well. SMA says, thank you, Jerry. I hope you all have a great sleep, much deserved sleep. Yes, and thank you, everyone, because tonight, Faith Walker and Katie and myself, it is a well-deserved sleep. We did go through her territory. We went through it like with a toothpick. We checked every ravine, some RV campers, we looked at everything. And but we seem to have pushed them out of that area. They do use them as hunting grounds, so they will be back, but they're going to be more cautious because they've seen us with weapons. They've seen us moving slow. They knew that we weren't hunting, but they knew we was looking for something, and they don't want to be that something found. So we are going to get some sleep. Let me see. SMA says, so glad you were able to help Faith Walker. Blessings to you all. Yes, Faith Walker pretty much had it under control. We just went in there to help pinpoint a couple things and let her show us what was out there. So she pretty knows everything there. And she was picking up with all the tracks too. It was good to see. I liked it. Ladybug says, I wish I could have been there. Yes, Ladybug, you should have been there. And Kathy, she says, Malcolm is not here or not there. No, Malcolm couldn't make this one. He's got some Bigfoots at his house too in that area, but he didn't make it up here with us. But hopefully soon he'll be back in the saddle, as they say. Cliff also says, super glad y'all got that portal closed up. Yes, me too. Me too. Ladybug said, did Damon make it there too? No, Damon didn't make it either. He had some car problems, car parts he had to wait on. But he's still in there. And this makes the strength in numbers. Yes. And the way we were doing it, we were, to me, that's how we do tactical, like, moving back or moving forward. And that's when you just switch, like this one will go up, stop, and then this one will go up, stop, stop, stop. And that way we could always watch the back, because they do try to get behind you and follow you. So, while one was watching the front, the other one was tracking or looking in the middle, and I was always tracking, but I was always looking in the back to make sure that we were safe at all times, so wasn't being followed. Kathy says, with you in spirit, Jerry. Good night. Yes, everyone. Good night. Have a great night. We will be back tomorrow. We got a lot more to share with you. Another place we're going to be at tomorrow night. And then the next day, we have a snatch and grab. And then we will be through with this part of this expedition for this time. We will be going out in different places. If you got close places that we can get to, we want to come and track in your area, give you a report and show you what's there. Faith Walker says, good night all, and thank you, Jerry. Good night, Faith Walker, and thank you so much. And thank you, Katie, for all your hard, I guess it's not work, but it is stressful on your body. It does have a lot of wear and tear on it, to move like that. But the more training you get, that's very beneficial to the way we do things, and it's the safest way to do things. But I'm going to go ahead and close. We'll be back tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time Zone. We will have some more updates, and maybe we may be able to go live during the observation, but I cannot guarantee that, because I don't want to disturb anything out there. But if it's to where we can be a disturbance, because we go by the normality of the area. If people are talking always outside, that's what we're going to do. If people are inside, that's what we're going to do. If people are, like with Faith Walker, she said they're used to cooking, lights coming on, sometimes people coming in and out at night. So that's what we used, and we didn't want to disrupt anything. So we'll be back tomorrow night and share that information with you. I had a great night tonight, talking with everybody. Good to see everybody. And I'm glad Faith Walker and Katie came on, because I know that they need some rest, and myself also. So pretty much I'm going straight to bed. I want to get as much rest as I can, because I only sleep 2 to 4 hours. So I'm going to be up here in about 2 to 4 hours. I'll get up and just do something, and then I'll go lay back down and sleep another 2 to 4 hours and get up again. So I'll probably get up 3 times before we really even have to get up. And everybody's has permission to sleep in tomorrow, but if you like Faith Walker, she's got her dogs and everything, so that's a little different. But everybody everyone is allowed to get a little rest, because we still have a long day tomorrow and the day and the morning after. So nighty night, good night all. Good night, Cliff. Good night, Faith Walker, Kathy, SMA, Angel, Ladybug. University's not here. Cliff, Mr. Mills, all the friends, because now we're getting into our friendship. SMA says she sleeps about the same or much less. Laugh out loud. Have a good sleep. Yes, we will be back tomorrow. Let us, get our rest, and we'll be back again. We're strong anyway, but at least we need to get our rest and let our bodies heal up a little bit. So I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. I will be back tomorrow night at 9:30 with more details, and hopefully No, I will have some pictures up for you tomorrow. I can do that. I know about how long it's going to take, and it shouldn't take me too long to get everything up. So at least you can see where we were and to where we're at, and then where we're going before it's over. We still got a lot to do, but we're going to have a lot of fun doing it because this is what we love to do. And I'm so glad that we have so many regular people who check in on us, ask about us, make sure that we're safe, and pretty much kind of know what everything that we do. And we do post this here so that you can keep up with this and that we can keep up with you. So I will see everyone tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Everyone have a great night. Get some good rest, and do not dream. Practice not dreaming. And SMA says, please do not forget the thumbs up. Press that like and subscribe, as they say. And if we can get up to 1,000 subscribers, which I really don't care about having a big group, I want a focused group. I want people who's going to learn so that they're safe out there and they can teach others. That's what I want. I don't really care about having hundreds of thousands of people. I want serious people who are going to protect themselves and their families and friends using this information. So everyone, have a great night. I did have a lot of fun tonight, even though I'm tired. We'll have some pictures up for you tomorrow and more updates. 9:30 p.m. tomorrow night, Central Time Zone. Everyone have a great night.